It's Black History Month, Mayor, and we wanted to come and sit down and talk to you. A lot of people may not know where you're from and your start. You are the mayor of Columbia, but you're not actually from Columbia, even South Carolina. So kind of bring us up to date on your start.
Well, the reality, Chris, is that 60% of African Americans in this country can trace their roots back to the Port of Charleston. My parents are born and raised in Orangeburg County. Mom finished high school there, my dad finished high school in Virginia. But after they were married, they packed up like a lot of black Southerners did in the 1960s and moved to Queens, New York, where I was born and raised in South Jamaica, Queens.
So you're a New Yorker?
I'm a Colombian.
Okay.
People say
Okay.
I might not have been born here, but I got here as quickly as I could. No, born and raised in Queens, and came here as a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 17-year-old almost 30 years ago. August 17th will be 30 years.
30 years. And you went to school here. You were educated here in Columbia College and, of course, law school.
Yeah, I went to undergrad in law school at the University of South Carolina. I'm a fighting Gamecock. This might not have been the best football year, but it's a heck of a basketball season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
I've been here now, I think, almost 17 years, man. It's crazy. And we've only had 2 mayors since I've been here. What do you think is the significance of you being elected the first African-American mayor?
Well, every day. I mean, this office is decorated with icons from Columbia's African-American history. I mean, every day I wake up, count my blessings, thankful for the opportunity to be able to serve and recognize the fact that I'm standing on the shoulders of men and women who paved the way for me to have the opportunity to serve. And these are men and women, not just the luminaries we tend to talk about during this month, but dishwashers, homemakers, folks who worked hard and under the cover of the night had to go to the NAACP meetings to fight for the right to vote or for the kids to have a great education. It's never lost on me that is very much a part of who I am, that some people gave everything, gave their lives for me to have this opportunity. And I take that with me into work every day and make sure that I'm doing the same. And I'm trying to create opportunities in this brave new world for young people who are looking for us to do the very same thing for them.
Morgan Freeman, actor Morgan Freeman, said recently that he didn't think that there was really a need for Black History Month. He felt that every month was Black History Month, and he asked the interviewer, and he said, where are you? And he said, I'm Jewish. Well, is there a Jewish History Month? And he said, no. But he said he didn't think we need one. I mean, given the state and the climate of everything that's going on today, is it still relevant? Is it still significant this month of February that we claim Black History Month?
Absolutely. If you go back to the origins of when Dr. Curry G. Woodson started Negro History Week almost 100 years ago, it was just a moment to celebrate the evolution of not just the African seed and the American son, but also the accomplishments of Black people across the diaspora, all across the world. And it's growing into something special and unique to this country. Obviously, I believe it should be continued. Now, I also believe I've spent time, I'm a student of history. I was a kid who loved social studies. I know the contributions of not just people from Africa, but those who are from Europe and Asia, the indigenous people to this land that we all call home now. It's important to be able to understand and appreciate history, to be able to understand your role in it. We've come a long way, but this world hopefully will have thousands, if not millions of years long after we're gone. We have to be able to appreciate where we come from if we want to be able to shape the future.
Mm-hmm. Mayors work really hard, we know that, but there may be some people that are watching this that don't really know exactly what it is that you do. What are some of the things that you're working on right now, maybe some of the policies that could affect us African Americans in Columbia, and what are some of the things that are coming up that you might want our viewers to know about?
Sure. Our vision for Columbia is to create the most talented, educated, and entrepreneurial city in America, to do what we can to create an environment where every person, every individual has a chance to live up to their God-given potential. Recognizing that we all don't start on third base or second or first base for that matter. Some of us aren't even in the dugout just yet. So how do we create an environment where we can all do the great things that we know we can do? That means that we have to work to continue to create jobs. And the greatest social program you're ever going to have is give a man or woman the opportunity to earn a good, solid living to take care of himself and his or her family. So we focus intently on job creation here. That's different regardless of where you go, depending on where you go in town. We have to make sure that we have good, solid programs in place to help people get back into the American economic mainstream. And for those who are doing good, it's our job to help them do excellent and really create the environment here where some will go on to college, do great things, go across the world, and want them to bring that talent right back to Columbia. We want to be a talent magnet. So we're going to continue working to create jobs here, to be a magnet for talent, to create an opportunity where entrepreneurs can thrive, to work to build good, strong, healthy neighborhoods, which is a good focus. A great city is really just a collection of great neighborhoods, and continue to work to create that good, strong cultural environment where everything from arts education to really helping support this great arts environment is real, and not only real, but so there are ways to monetize it so people can make a good living and add to the quality of life that makes this place special.
You talk about job creation, and our new president, Donald Trump, was basically elected talking about bringing jobs back to our country, creating jobs. I think, what was it, Making America Great Again. You've seen some of the things that he's done with executive orders in the few weeks that he's been in office. How do you think his presidency is going to affect African Americans? And do you think that we will be able to, and I say we, I guess, the cities, the Congress will be able to work with him to try to help get some things in place to help African Americans?
I hope so. I believe that, one of the requisite qualities of any successful public servant or politician is that you gotta be an optimist. So you always want to look at that glass and see it as being half full. I am not, and I'm just in the interest of full disclosure, I am not happy with the way the first few weeks have gone. I don't believe the president has worked hard to bring the country together and set the proper tone that a president should set. But we're early on, and on the issues that the president is willing to work on that seek to appeal to the better angels of our nature, that seek to bring people together, recognizing that we're all brothers and sisters. I look forward to working with him on. When he does not do that and acts in the alternative, then I look forward to fighting him every step of the way. I am proud, I will say, since we're on the topic of the 8 years that Barack Obama served this country, that he and the First Lady and Vice President Biden, Dr. Biden, served this country well. And I think there are a lot of lessons to be learned from that brand of leadership, and hopefully through constant communication, President Trump will be able to learn some of those lessons from President Obama.
So we have to hope and pray that he will do some things that will get us to where we want to be.
Sure.
We try to work with him.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's important for us to always be vigilant and to be committed to a common set of core principles. On those issues, you never budge, you never bend. All the other issues, let's try and figure out how we can work together. But any assaults on human dignity and human rights and civil rights and just common decency, we've got to be willing to work together and speak truth to power. If we aren't willing to do that, then there's no need for us occupying these seats of authority and influence.
Mayor Benjamin, a lot of young people here in Columbia and surrounding areas, some may be even thinking about running for public office, maybe mayor or what have you. What would be your message to young people who maybe aspire to sit at that desk in that seat one day?
I would encourage them to do so. I visited over 200 schools since I've been mayor of Columbia, and I see the incredible talent that we have all across this community, not just in the city of Columbia, Richland County, all across this region. We have some incredibly talented young people who are so smart and purpose-driven, that to not use that talent to turn them into the global superstars they can be would be robbery. So I would tell them that we have a number of programs just here in the mayor's office. If they're in college, we have a mayor's fellows program. We have over 200 young people come through this internship program, designed to help them not just fill their resume, but help them figure out what it is that makes them tick, and give them an opportunity to network and learn more. We have a youth commission for high school students. They come here and also, as opposed to us always talking about young people, talking at young people, is for us to listen to them and them help shape policy here. We have a wonderful partnership with the Columbia Urban League that last year had 600 young people working in summer jobs, paid summer jobs across the city and county. There's so many different ways to get involved. I encourage them to go to columbiasc.net, go to the mayor's page, find some ways to get involved, and we'd love to have them involved in helping shape their city. This type of experience is invaluable, and I hope and pray that not only will they be mayors or council people, that they'll aspire for the state legislature, for governor, and maybe we'll have some in the federal government, maybe at the highest office in the land someday.
Mayor Benjamin, thank you for your time today. You told an interesting story when we got here about a gentleman, George Elmore, and you have this picture hanging on the wall in your office. Can you share that story with some of our viewers today? I hadn't heard the story, and it was a captivating story. George Elmore.
Well, I know that the reach of the Big DM is far and wide. George Elmore was originally from Holly Hill, South Carolina. Moved to Columbia, became a businessman, owned a five and dime store and a taxi cab company here in the city. In 1947, decided that enough was enough, that the closed primary of the Democratic Party, which at that time was the only party in the state, there was no Republican Party, that was closed to African Americans, was illegal, and decided he'd file a lawsuit. Elmore versus Rice was a lawsuit that he won. Judge J. Wadey Waring, who was probably the most important judge of the 20th century in South Carolina, ruled that the Democratic primary was not a closed club. Opened up the Democratic primary for African American voters for the first time in half a century. And you also see some of the pictures on the wall, folks dressed up in their Sunday best.
I saw that. It's African Americans used to actually dress up to go and vote.
Your Sunday best. It was important. The right to the franchise, that just 2 generations before was treasured. We often forget about the period of Reconstruction here in South Carolina, post-Civil War, when federal troops were here to protect the rights of African American voters, recently freed slaves. And this state was one of the few states in the South that was majority African American. So we had African American lieutenant governor, secretary of state, Supreme Court justices, trustees at the university. The first time that the university was opened up to African Americans and to women, the very first time we had a public school system that was open to every citizen, not just to landed gentry. And we had an incredible period from 1873 to 1877 where we took the right to vote seriously. Over half of the House of Representatives was African American, almost half of the South Carolina Senate. Prior to Jim Clyburn going to Congress, where he's been doing such an admirable job, more members of Congress came from South Carolina than any other state in history, just because of that brief period in the late 1800s. Rich, deep, and meaningful history here in South Carolina. And so important for us to realize this goes back to the importance of African American history. If we didn't know that, or if we don't know it, it's worth learning. Once we know it, it shows us what's really possible. And I believe still to be the greatest democratic nation in the history of the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mayor Benjamin, again, thanks for your time. Thanks for having us. Thanks for being here, Black History Month, as we celebrate African Americans who are really, really making a difference in their city and their country. And you are doing that for sure. Thank you again.
Well, thank you all for all the work that you're doing too, brother. God bless you.